Today's video is going over a final drive swap to a 4.88 ratio in my 2014 BRZ. Stock, it comes with a 4.1. My project intent was to keep the car relatively stock. My only mods right now are a Stage 1 OFT tune, Michelin Pilot Super Sport tires in the stock tire size, and a Perrin 2.5-inch catback exhaust. The second bullet point was to improve daily driver acceleration at low and mid-range RPMs. As much as I like to keep the revs up and be crazy on the main roads, that's not really feasible and safe. So being able to do it at lower and mid-range RPMs was ideal for me. I wanted to maintain as close as possible stock reliability. I also wanted to avoid the need for adding on supporting mods just to be able to handle the changes that I was making to the car. The last bullet point is the fact that I do have a secondary car available for road trips and long distances, so I could be a little bit more aggressive on choosing my final drive so that I could increase acceleration and not care as much about gas mileage at higher RPMs and higher cruising speeds like on freeways. Here I'm outlining the total project cost. These are estimated numbers, so don't take these directly. To get an idea, a full kit from Weir Performance along with all of the parts that I asked them to source so that I had everything ready to go for the shop was approximately $700 shipped. The local shop labor, where the car was there for about 3 days, costed $1,000. Lastly, the Motul Gear 300 75W90, 2 bottles needed for the initial fill, and 2 bottles that I'll be using later to change it out after I'm done with my break-in time period. That costs about $100. So overall, the project cost was $1,800. After letting the final drive wear in, I'm really enjoying the improved acceleration at lower revs. I'm able to do exactly what I was mentioning earlier, which is I can pull out of corners in third, where normally I'd need to feel that same rush of power in second gear. A plus and minus is that there's more shifting involved. I enjoy it, it's more fun, it's more involving, but I can imagine for some people that would not be an improvement. Another plus and minus is that there is minor gear whine noticeable under certain conditions, mainly acceleration or deceleration while in gear. Some of you might enjoy that, others may think that they already have enough cabin noise and don't need it. Another plus and minus is that the RPMs are much higher at cruising speeds like on the highway and freeway. So for me, this isn't that big of a deal. In Oregon, the max speed limit for the freeway is 65 miles per hour. That's approximately 3,500 RPMs. At that RPM, you're not really wanting to go any faster, so it keeps you reined in. But at the same time, if for any reason you had a emergency purpose to need to pass, you could do so, and you're already a little bit higher in the RPM band that you may not actually need to shift down. Another plus or minus, depending on who you are, is that it is easier now to overcome the rear tire grip. I upgraded to Michelin Pilot Super Sports, as I mentioned earlier, and now my car kind of corners on rails, and it does allow for some slip here and there, but for the most part, it's kind of lost its playfulness on the rear end. Well, now I can really put the throttle in it, and the rear tire grip is reminding me more of the car when it was stock with the primacy HPs. The back end really wants to come around on you more, so it's brought back the fun factor without the sacrifice of having to take corners a lot more slowly. The only major downside I would say is that the overall cost versus the realized performance gain is relatively high. When you consider that this project costs about 1/3 of the way to all of the parts for a supercharger, you're really in the category of, well, does this really make sense, or should I just save up for FI? I'm sure you can get a turbo kit for a lot cheaper too, but with my project intent in mind, I believe that it was totally worth the money that I spent to maintain what I was looking to do with the car. So what's my verdict? It's 10 out of 10, would do again. Again, with my project intent, I met all of the goals that I was looking for. I would say that for most people, this gearing ratio is probably too aggressive for them, considering that if this car was their daily driver and they did not have a second car, I would probably not recommend the 4.88. I would recommend the next step down. After spending that amount of money, it would be really bad to find out that it was too aggressive or not aggressive enough after you've done all of that work to then swap it again. If you have any questions or you have any suggestions for future videos that you want to see, please post it in the comments below. Thanks for watching.